So here we are back at the network cabinet in another episode of the full network setup series, and in this video we're going to be connected up the UNVR network video recorder and configuring it in the UniFi network controller, to be precise in UniFi Protect. So you'll see the UNVR is already here in the network rack, which you know about from a previous video, and it's already connected up into the patch panel with this cable, and it goes into the UDM-Pro 24 PoE switch. Now in the UNVR there's already one hard drive which I've already put in there, as you'll see, and this is a Samsung SSD hard drive, and it's a 1 terabyte model. Now to mount the hard drive into the hard drive caddies, there's 4 in the UNVR, it does actually provide you with a diagram on the bottom of the hard drive caddy, as you'll see here, and it tells you where to place the SATA connector so that it connects into the UNVR's backplane for the hard drives. So I've already done that. I only have one drive at the moment. This is because I'm waiting for some more hard drives, so once I receive those I will put those into the remaining 3 slots. So let's slide the hard drive caddy back in and press the front cover, which should then connect it to the UNVR's backplane for the hard drives. So at the moment the UNVR is just going to be used for recording footage from the G4 doorbell, as I don't have any UniFi cameras connected up to my network at the moment, although there are 2 cables actually laid already for the security cameras. So now that we've done that, we'll plug in the UNVR. The white light has just actually illuminated itself there on the UNVR. So once this had powered itself on and settled itself down, I'll take you to my computer screen where we will set up the UNVR in the UniFi ecosystem. As you can see, the light is now flashing, so I'll take you to my computer screen now and let's see what's going on. So as you can see, here we are, and I've logged into the UniFi OS console, and a message has popped up saying ready to add UNVR. Now it's saying go to 192.168.2.131 to adopt your UNVR. So we can click open 192.168.2.131 from that pop-up menu. So here we are, and it's saying set up UNVR. So let's click setup and give it a console name of UNVR01 and tick the box agree to the terms of service and end user license agreement, and then click next. Then we will click on proceed without an account, as I do not want to set up a cloud account with this. I only want local access, so we will click proceed without an account, and then from the pop-up window that appears we will select proceed without UI.com account. Then we will set a console password, so I'll put in a secure password in there and then click set password in the bottom right hand corner. Then it's asking us to select the preferred storage policy. Now at the moment, as I said, I only have one hard disk in my UNVR, so I will select one disk with no redundancy level and then click finish. Now it's saying setting up UniFi OS, and here we are. We're now in the UniFi OS console of our UNVR and not the UDM-Pro. So it's asking us to update the Protect application from 2.6.17 to 2.7.34. So here we will click update. Then we will just wait for the update to complete. Now that the update is completed, we're now on version 2.7.34, and you'll see that UID is not installed. I don't actually need that at the moment, so we'll not bother installing that. So as I've said previously, I like to do my updates manually. So for auto update, we'll untick UniFi OS and untick applications and click apply changes. This will prevent it from automatically updating its applications and operating system. Then we will move down to devices, and here you'll see that there's no devices listed. This is because we don't have any set up at the moment, but I'll show you how to do this with a G4 doorbell and also a smart chime in another video coming up very soon. So then we will proceed to click admins, and here you'll see that there's our admin role, and that's us logged in at the moment, and it's a local admin account as we didn't create a UI.com account. So then we will proceed down to console settings. Here you'll see we've set the console name as UNVR01. There's an option to system config backup where we can download a backup file of our configuration. There's also the local time zone, which is already set to my local time zone. Then under advanced, we have remote access, which is disabled at the moment, as I do not want remote access enabled for the time being. Underneath that we have analytics and improvement. This is also unticked, and also unticked is SSH access. We do not want that enabled at the moment. What SSH does, it allows you to access your devices via command line interface. You can access the device and configure it with command lines, commands typed in to a command line prompt. Underneath that we have console controls, which is restart, turn off, factory reset and download support file. Then under the Ethernet network we have DHCP enabled, and at the moment it's picking up its IP address, and that's being picked up from the UDM-Pro's DHCP server. So we will leave the Ethernet network set as DHCP at the moment. Then under SFP, now this is for the SFP port at the back of the UNVR, as it has both an SFP port and also a RJ45 connection port. So it has both a 1 gigabit and a 10 gigabit Ethernet connection at the back. So it looks like from this that it has two network interface cards, so you can configure it with two separate IP addresses for two different networks if you so wish. But at the moment we'll leave that to DHCP for both of those. Then from the left hand side we will select push notification settings, and push notification settings are set to on, and these are all set to the default values at the moment, so we'll just leave those as they are. I will go into detail later on in another video about push notification settings, where we can configure email notifications. So let's move down to map, and this gives us a map of your property and where probably your UNVR is located, and various security cameras and so on. You'll see at the bottom there's upload floor plan option. This allows you to upload a floor plan diagram from, for example, the UniFi website
which has a design center in it, so you could actually save the design and then import it into your UNVR. So moving down to system logs here, this will provide you with a report of system events that happen. For example, when you log in, it records it when the update has been done, for example. So moving down to storage, you will see here that there's a diagram of the UNVR and its populated hard drive bays. At the moment there's only one populated hard drive bay. This is shown in blue colour here, and you'll see that it's saying SSD 1 is in the first bay. Then we have HDD 2, HDD 3 and HDD 4, and these will obviously change colour and have a green dot against them when you populate them with associated hard drives. Here you can click on the hard drives and you'll see that the bay moves across, and there it will provide statistics about your hard drive that's installed in whichever bay you click on. For example, SSD 1, which is the bay that I've populated. So moving down, you'll see that it's saying it needs attention. You currently don't have enough drives, HDD or SSD, installed to protect your storage with a RAID configuration. At least 2 drives must be installed for RAID 1 and 3 for RAID 5 configurations. And as I've said, I'm waiting for some more hard drives to arrive, and once we have those, we can then reconfigure the setup so that it has a RAID configuration. So at the moment the utilisation is 56.2 megabytes of 975 gigabytes of free space, and the redundancy level at the moment is set to 1 disk. As you'll see, hot spare, you can have hot spare enabled, where you can enable one of the drive bays to be hot spare, where if one drive fails, it will then switch over to the hot spare. Underneath that, you'll see that we have an option to reformat storage, where we can reformat the hard drives. We don't need to do that because there's no data stored on there at the moment. Then we'll go to the option, the final option at the left hand side, which is about this console. Here you'll see it provides a status about the UNVR, its IP address, its software and firmware update status, its uptime, the memory used, temperature, and also the owner and the UniFi OS version, Mac ID, what processor it has in it, and the amount of internal storage it has as well. Also we have the CPU load as well. So now that we've gone through all the UniFi OS options, we will then click on the dotted square icon at the top right corner, which is this one here, and we will select Protect. This will then bring you to the Protect dashboard, where you'll see there's information about your UNVR, storage utilization, and the version of the software, release notes and support ticket. So from the left hand side icons, you'll see the second icon down is for UniFi devices. As we don't have any at the moment installed, we'll skip that icon. So the third option down will be for live view, which will be a live view of your cameras. Again, we don't have any devices, so we'll proceed with the next one. Playback is where you can play back the recorded videos of your security devices. Again, we'll skip this for the time being. Then we have underneath that, which looks like a person running, is for detections. Then we have insights. Then we have roles. Here we can click on this and we have users set up on the system. At the moment we have the administrator and view only. View only is for viewing the camera footage. So with the view only option, you wouldn't be able to access any of the configuration settings in the UNVR OS or UniFi Protect. So after that, there looks like a notebook, and that is for system log. Here you will see that it provides information that's been logged into the system. For example, Protect application updated, when it went offline, when it was disconnected, and so on. This will actually populate itself the more you use the application. So the final one is for settings, which is the gear or the cog icon. We'll click on that, which then brings you into the general options by default, and the first option is for video retention. Here you will see that there's the first option, which is time-based recording deletion. What this does is deletes footage from your hard drive once you've reached the maximum time limit. This can be required by law in certain areas. By default is actually disabled. What I'm going to do is enable it, and with the pop-up window that appears, it's saying enable scheduled recording deletion. Once done, all footage that has been retained for longer than the selected retention period will be automatically deleted. Deleted recordings cannot be recovered. So I will select enable, and then from the second option that appears, which was previously greyed out, we have the days before footage is deleted. So what this will do is keep any recordings for a period of, by default this is set to 90 days, and then after 90 days it will automatically delete the video footage recordings. So I will change that to 7 days, because I only have one terabyte hard drive, and therefore it's restricting the storage space at the moment, but I will change this later on when I add further hard drives. Then once you've selected the number of days before your footage is deleted, click apply, and then it will say changes have been updated successfully. Then for recording schedule, you can select add new schedule, and what this schedule does is allows you to mark out time spans where assigned cameras should be recording. So for example, so let's click on, say for example, between 2 and 3 AM, and it's saying start day is Monday, end day we can change that to Sunday if we so wish, so that it records every day between 2 AM and 3 AM. And we can also select the repeat every week. So if you select these options, it will repeat the recordings for every day of that week and future weeks as well. So what it means is then it will record footage every day automatically between 2 AM and 3 AM on a Monday, Tuesday, a Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, Saturday and a Sunday of every week. At the moment I'll click cancel because I don't need to set up a schedule. So let's click back. Then under device group management, you'll see the first option is device group. Here we can add new device group where you can group devices together. We don't need to use that for the time being, so we'll click cancel. Migration, you can export the UniFi Protect configuration, and also you can import the configuration from a backup file. Under bridge devices, you'll see that there's auto adopt bridge devices, and this is enabled by default. We will leave that ticked at the moment. And here you'll see that there's linked bridge devices, which is my wireless access point, and it's saying the status is unavailable at the moment as it's managed by another console. Of course this is as it's managed by my UDM-Pro. So for the time being we will move down to other configurations, and then for the time representation it's set by default to 12 hours, I like to use a 24-hour clock, so I will select 24 hours and click apply. Then for the temperature units, here in the UK we tend to use Celsius, so this is selected by default, so I'll leave that as it is. Under recovery code, you'll see this is required if you want Protect devices to be adopted by another UniFi console. What this does, but don't quote me on this, is if you want, for example, your cameras, for example G4 cameras or G4 doorbell, to be adopted by another UniFi console such as your UDM-Pro, this will allow you to move over the devices from this UniFi Protect UNVR to, say for example, a UDM-Pro by entering a recovery code. We will leave that set as it is at the moment. Then under Advanced, we can see that there's Insights, which displays a heat map of your camera's detections. Please note that this feature is resource intensive and enabling it may affect system performance. By default this is ticked, so I will leave that ticked at the moment. Then underneath that we have a geofencing option, which is unticked. And what this does is sets your console's location and geofence radius in your UniFi console settings. So you'll see that the geofencing option is unticked at the moment. And what this will do is set your console location and geofence radius in your UniFi OS console settings. We'll leave that by default at the moment, which is unticked. Then the next option down is for low latency video. Of course we would like low latency video, so we'll leave that ticked. And that completes all the options in the UniFi Protect application. So we'll go back to the dashboard and then we can log out of the UNVR Protect. And that completes setting up of the UNVR operating system and UniFi Protect application in the UNVR. Thanks for watching this video. Keep a lookout for the next video where I'll be adding the UniFi Protect devices into the UniFi Protect application and UNVR operating system. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and also the like buttons. And thanks for watching, and thank you everyone for your ongoing support with this channel. Take care and see you again soon.